Hi, Julie Russo here, creator of Structures of Equality, where we're making sense of math stories. If you're new to Structures, they're a reading comprehension tool that helps students better understand number stories. Before we get started, make sure you remember to subscribe to my channel below. I post weekly videos with actionable tips. Don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified when they're available. This next video clip shows me demonstrating the importance of representation in our models. I begin with using an array rather than a repeated equal group structure of equality because the students are familiar with the term array, but they're not quite familiar with a repeated equal group structure of equality. So it's how I enter into this longer lesson on how to introduce a repeated equal group structures of equality. Each tree had 2 apples in it. There was a total of 4 trees, 4 apples in his yard. So I'm going to pass these cards out to you. This is an array. This shows us what's happening in this math story. And we're going to talk about what's happening in this math story using this card. Okay? So you have a card that looks like this. So this is, right here, this one circle represents, listen in the story, this one circle represents one of Tyreek's apples. I want you to point to one of his apples. Point to one apple. Okay? Did you get one? Okay? So that's one of his apples. This right here, these 2 apples, represent something else. What do these 2 circles represent in the story? If this is one apple, what do these 2 things represent? 2 apples, perfect. 2 apples in a what? Apple tree. I could have written a story like that, but I didn't. I wrote about trees, but it could be a basket, but this one is about trees. So yes, so put your finger on one tree for me. Put your finger on one tree. And cover it. There you go. You got it. So that's one tree. So move your finger over. What's that one? Another tree. So how many trees are represented in this array? 2. How many apples are represented? 4. Wow, okay. When I introduced this to the students, I passed out cards just like this, and it helped them visualize what was happening in the story. I asked them to show me one tree, show me another tree, and then show me an apple on that tree. That helped me understand whether or not they understood the representation. Anytime you introduce a new representation to students, it's important that you ask them to connect it back to the story or connect it back to the other visualization or representation that you used. You always want to make sure they understand their representations. Hope you enjoyed the video. A special thanks goes out to Anicia Walker and her 5th grade class at Salve Inclusive School in Jamaica.